Welcome to TRN, episode 139. Today we're addressing a very serious topic, one that has deeply affected the community in Weilburg and beyond, the disappearance and, tragically, the discovery of young Pawlos.
It's a difficult subject, absolutely.
We've gathered information from various news reports to try and piece together the events as accurately as possible. Our aim here is really just to provide a clear, fact-based overview based on those reports looking at what happened.
Exactly. It's important, I think, to understand what the available information tells us about this case. We'll stick strictly to those public reports and try to highlight the key points without getting into any speculation.
Okay, let's start then with the day he disappeared, March 25th, 2025. Pawlos, 6 years old, a student at a special needs school there in Weilburg. He left the school around midday after lunch. What did the initial reports tell us about that time?
Well, the news mentioned he was in first grade,
Mm-hmm.
and the mayor, Johannes Hanisch, described him as having autistic traits or being on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
That information was shared relatively early on.
Yeah.
And there was also that brief sighting of him reported at the Weilburg train station quite soon after he left the school.
Which must have been a key piece of information early on.
Yeah, likely a crucial starting point, for directing the initial search efforts.
And those search efforts, as the reports indicate, were just enormous. Up to 600 emergency personnel involved at points.
Yeah, that number it's staggering.
Yeah.
It really tells you something about the immediate response, the level of concern right away.
Absolutely. Police, fire department.
The technical relief agency, too. It points to a very large-scale coordinated reaction.
And they even brought in, wasn't it a reconnaissance aircraft from the armed forces?
That's right. They used a Bundeswehr aircraft to help cover the search area, which was about a 3-kilometer radius around Weilburg. It really underscores the urgency and the scale of the operation from the get-go.
So a huge amount of resources.
Definitely. It shows how seriously the situation was taken right from the start, even though, sadly, all that initial effort, it didn't lead to finding him then.
Which brings us to that much-discussed last sighting, the video, showing Pawlos with a man on a street in Weilburg. What can we take away from that piece of information?
Well, that incident is pretty significant, mainly because it shows there was this direct interaction just shortly before Pawlos ultimately disappeared from view.
Right. The man saw him on the road.
Yeah. Apparently saw him on a busy road, moved him onto the sidewalk for safety, and then called the police. Very responsible actions.
Okay.
But the tragic part is, while the man was on the phone with the police, Pawlos ran off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's just heartbreaking, really. A missed chance, and it highlights how unpredictable that situation must have been. The police couldn't locate him when they arrived, based on that call.
And then Easter Sunday evening came, bringing that awful news. A canoeist found a child's body in the Lahn River. What do we know about the specifics of that discovery?
The location reported was near an overpass, the B456 bridge over the Lahn. That's an important geographical marker.
Right.
Once the canoeist alerted the authorities, emergency services, fire department, rescue teams, police, they were on the scene quickly. But unfortunately, the paramedic could only confirm the child's death.
Such a terrible end to the search.
A truly tragic outcome, ending days of uncertainty for everyone involved.
The police commented fairly quickly afterwards, didn't they? Saying it was very likely the body was Pawlos. What are the next steps usually in a situation like this?
Well, the involvement of the criminal police, forensic investigators, and forensic medicine specialists right there at the scene indicates a thorough investigation was immediately underway.
Okay.
The focus in the coming days, according to reports, will be on clarifying the exact circumstances surrounding his death.
Understandable.
And the police did publicly express their condolences to the family, which acknowledges the human tragedy amidst the procedural steps.
The news reports also mention the significant outpouring of concern from the public in Weilburg. How important is that community aspect?
Oh, it's huge. The reaction of the people in Weilburg, their worry, their willingness to help with the search, it really reflects the tight-knit nature of a community like that.
Yeah.
Weilburg, with its roughly 13,000 residents spread across 11 districts, it's the kind of town where an event like this hits incredibly hard and resonates deeply.
And you feel that connection.
Exactly. And that community support, while it can't change the outcome, is often a vital source of strength, however small, for the family going through something unimaginable.
So just to recap the key points from the reports we've looked at. Pawlos, a 6-year-old boy, went missing on March 25th in Weilburg after leaving his school. A massive search operation was launched, but was initially unsuccessful.
Right.
There was a final reported sighting shortly before he disappeared completely, but it didn't lead to finding him at the time.
Tragically, no.
And then his body was discovered in the Lahn River on Easter Sunday.
That's the sequence of events as reported. And it's really crucial to stress again that everything we've discussed is based solely on those news articles available to us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just an incredibly sad situation. And we really want to extend our deepest sympathies once more to Pawlos' family and the entire Weilburg community.
These events are a painful reminder, aren't they, of life's fragility and the profound impact such tragedies have on a community. It leaves you searching for words, really, a moment for quiet reflection.